Good morning. I am going live again in the morning. I am so happy to be here. Today is Wednesday, and this is Dr. Tanya Live. So I want to say welcome and thank you for joining me this morning. I'm so happy to have you as always. And just for taking your time out. I mean, this is not my typical time. I have been typically doing the afternoon, but I'm away this week. So I'm just making some adjustments in my time. I wanted to start off with a scripture that I pretty much use every day that I come on live, and that is from Ephesians 2:10. And I just think that this one is just so appropriate. And it is, for we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so that we can do the good things He planned for us long ago. Okay, that is really good news, right? Because He planned something for you specifically, like you specifically. I've got two devices going, so I'm looking here and I'm looking there. But He planned something for all of us, right? And it's something good. He's got good plans for us. So what does that mean? It means that the way that He created us, the masterpieces that we are unique. There is nobody else who's like us. There's no one else who has the DNA that we have, who has the personality that we have, who has the exact gifts the way that God has given them to us, because He has made us unique and special. And that identity is what allows us to be the people that we are designed to be so that we can do great things in this life. We all have a calling, we all have a purpose, and that purpose is to be fulfilled in certain ways. So you're not here by accident. And if you're building a business or you've got a dream that won't let you go, that's part of what God may have planned for you long ago. Whatever happens, I want you to walk away understanding your identity and what it is that God has for you. I do have a favor. I've been asking this all the time. Please feel free to share this with your networks. If you're not already following me on my social media, please follow me and subscribe to any of my social media channels. But thank you again for joining me. This is day 23, which is crazy. Day 23 of my 90-day challenge. So I have challenged myself every single business day to go live. I am showing up to encourage women and men who are starting a business, who have already started a business and trying to get that business off the ground, or who are looking to build a business. So if you've got a business or a business idea or a dream to build a business and you need support, you're in the right place. Um, for those of you who are new here, I am Dr. Tanya, and this is Dr. Tanya Live, real talk for women building and men building businesses, building their businesses. So here we are today with our topic, pricing with confidence, not fear. So that's interesting. It's an interesting topic. So grab your breakfast. If you're on the way to work, pay attention to the road. And if you are already at work, make sure the volume is low so that you don't disturb any of your coworkers. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm really happy to be able to share this topic about pricing with confidence. Okay, so you are a brand new business owner, or you are thinking about building your business, or you've started your business and you're trying to figure out, how do you charge the right amount? Like, how do you know, where do you begin when you are trying to figure out how much to charge your clients or your customers who are going to buy your products and buy your services? So this one is a hard one, I think, in many ways, because this really kind of can speak to what we believe about ourselves, as well as what we believe about the product and or the service that we're offering. And as entrepreneurs and founders, there's a lot that goes into pricing just right and pricing with confidence. So feeling good about the price that you're charging for something. It's nothing like saying, yeah, I charge like 150 for this. I mean, but if you don't, if that's too much for you, that's not confidence, because that's what happens to a lot of folks. They will say, okay, well, somebody will say, well, how much is it for your new program that you're offering? Well, I mean, I'm charging like, 250 um a week, but I can give you a discount for for $50 or whatever, or you've got friends or family members who, you're like you've got this product. It's an amazing product. You've spent time building this product. It is a new app that people can use to help them make their lives more complete in some way. I don't know, I'm making it up. And so they're like, "Oh, this is great. I want to be I want your app. So how much does it cost for me to be like to have access to your app and to download it?" And you're like, "Well, it's 29.99 a month, and you get this and this and this and this and this that comes with it. And and then you get to meet with me once every quarter, whatever you're saying, right?" And then your family or your friend is like, "Come on, you know me. What's the family and friends discount?" And so that can also impact your what you may charge or the confidence that you have in charging. I will never forget when I first started my business and I was looking to charge my clients. And so I was providing training for teachers and leaders. And that training and development oftentimes would be full day sessions, where I'm literally there from morning. They have lunch, and then we go through to the end of the workday. So it's literally like 6 hours that I could be there training and providing workshop training to teachers and leaders. And I kid you not, I found that I was afraid to charge like too much. So it was a lot for me to say, "I'll charge you $1,000 for the whole day," which actually $1,000 is an gross, gross, gross undercharging. But back then, I was really concerned that if I charged them more, then maybe they wouldn't hire me, right? If I charge them too much, they might be like, "Well, I don't know," and they'll go with somebody else. That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking, that I was going to price myself out of the competition. But I hadn't really done my homework. I tried, but for some reason, I wasn't able to figure out what people like me were charging for their services. I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't do my due diligence in trying to get a sense of what people were charging for the kinds of services that I was offering. And I had gotten to the point where I was getting a lot of business, right? And in hindsight, I look back and I was like, that's because they didn't have to pay very much for it. But they were getting quality service. And I'm like, why am I not confident here? Why do I feel like I can't charge more? What is going on? But there was something going on. I didn't feel confident. I didn't feel like I could charge for what the service was offering, because what I was offering was giving people an opportunity to make some changes in their practice. And so to think differently about their practice, to approach their practice differently, like that's what I was doing with my with the work that I was doing. So I was actually creating some kind of transformation and some kind of change in what I was doing, but I didn't see the value of what I was providing. And I was afraid that if I said it was going to cost more, then maybe they wouldn't go with me. That was a big, big mistake. And we can get in trouble that way as new entrepreneurs when we're not certain about or when we're not confident in the type of pricing that we have. So I remember, so my daughter has been in education, but she works in early childhood. And so she was an assistant director for an early childhood center. And one of the things that they would do to kind of determine whether or not their pricing was like along the lines is they would do like a secret shopper. And so she became that secret shopper oftentimes. And, even one time she even got caught because people recognized her from her social media, but she was able to kind of play it off because she did have a child that was early childhood age. And so she could go into a place and she can ask questions and she can come from the perspective of a mother to get a sense of what is our competitor charging, what comes with that price. Like, are they charging like weekly or monthly? Are there any discounts that they may offer? Do they charge for vacation weeks? Are they charging for this? Do they pay for lunch? Do they give you diapers and whatever it goes along with that early childhood setting, right? And so she would go to different places to find out what the prices were, and then she would take it back to her company that she was working for, and, use that to inform some of their pricing decisions. And that usually happened as they were getting ready for like a new school year. And so it is not uncommon to have these secret shoppers in any kind of establishment really trying to check out the pricing. I've had people do that to me. I've had people ask me for a quote. Sometimes there have been times where people said, I need a quote, although we already are going to go with someone else for this, but I still need a quote to get a sense of whether or not this person is charging fairly. Now you can decide whether or not you want to give a quote or not. And sometimes you have to vet people yourself a little bit more to find out, are they a real, are they really interested in my services, or are they really just kind of shopping around? I've actually spoken to competitors, and I have said to my competitors, you need to raise your price. And it may sound like that's like, why are you doing that? Like, why would you tell your competitors to raise their pricing? So I did it for a very specific reason, because I knew that the service that my competitors were offering were high quality, and they really were competitive. Like, they really offered something that was just as good as what I may have been offering. However, if the competitor keeps their price really low, none of us will ever get the price that the service and the transformation actually provides. We won't get the value for the work that we're doing. So even like, sometimes you may think that, well, if I just like keep my prices low, then I'm going to get all of the business. Sometimes you will, but sometimes you also will make it hard for yourself and others like you to get what value you really are providing. So when I talk about the value that you're providing, I need you to think about a few different things. By the way, while you're on here, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to provide them. So you're going to want to you're going to want to think about the transformation or the change that comes when people purchase your product or purchase your service. What's going to be different for them, right? um, will it really make a difference if they buy from you? So if you are providing something that's really transformational. So for example, I I'm you know I like to walk. And I like to walk like, miles at a time, pretty much on a daily basis. And occasionally I may want to try my hand at doing a little jogging. Years ago, I used to run when I was younger. And so, every now and then I think about that. So when I am looking for a good pair of sneakers, or depending on where you are in the country, tennis shoes. That's what I grew up saying in the Midwest. But when I'm looking for a good pair of sneakers so that when I'm walking and or running, I'm supported, I'm not going to go to Walmart for those sneakers, because I'm looking for something that has quality, something that's going to support my arches, something that's going to make sure that my ankle doesn't turn over, making sure that I don't feel a lot of pressure on my knees or on my lower back. And so I'm not going to go to the cheapest place to find those sneakers, right? So, will I go to will I go to like a sporting goods store? More than likely I will. I may even go to a running store. In fact, the last pair of sneakers that I bought, I went to a running store because I wanted something that was going to provide me with quality. I knew going in that I wasn't going to be paying $20 for those sneakers, because if I'm paying $20 for sneakers, I don't expect that they will support me. I don't expect that they will make it easy for my knees or my lower back if I decide I want to jog or run. And so $20 is not a value for me for what I'm looking for. I am looking for a value that's going to support me. And so I'm going to the store that's going to provide me with shoes that I know I'm going to pay at least $100 for, probably closer to $150 for a really good pair of sneakers. And I'm going to pay that. And when I go into that store, if I say to them, well, how much are these sneakers? And they say 20, they say 150 or $120, and my response is, well, don't you have any for 50? They would probably look at me and laugh because they know the quality of the product and the transformation that comes. They know that when I buy and put on these sneakers and start running or walking, that I'm going to be supported. And that $20 or $50 worth of sneakers is not going to provide that support for me, and especially over a longer period of time. And so the same holds for you and the product or the service that you are offering. You need to think about, what does your customer get in return for the price that you are charging them? And you've got to be confident that what you're charging them is valuable. And if it's not valuable, okay, then okay, charge them cheap, charge them the low price, the lowest price you can. But if you know what you have is going to create change for somebody, then it's incumbent upon you to think about the transformation and the value of that transformation that you are providing to your clients. So I was thinking about like how we price things, right? So just because somebody says, well, I'm not buying that for that price, whatever you're offering, they're like, well, I'm not paying that for your price. Just because they say no to you does not mean that your price is wrong. It just likely means that either one, they can't afford it today, and or two, they're not your client. So you need the client who is going to benefit from what you have to offer and is going to value what you have to offer. You can also test your pricing. So you can have different people actually, um you can test, like, would you pay, X amount for this particular product or service? You can ask them, is this too cheap? Like, if you think about, like, if you so let's think about a service that you may, or a product that you may buy, right? So, let's say you have a restaurant, right? And you want to see yourself as an upscale restaurant. And you want people to come there when they are celebrating their birthdays and retirement and or their anniversaries. You want it to be special. You've got a certain level of ambiance that you want this restaurant to exude, and you want to get an idea of what the price, whether or not your pricing is good. And so you'll ask, you could potentially ask different people, would you pay, $150 for two for dinner at at this restaurant? Now, given the food, it might be gourmet. You've got a special chef who has trained at, like, the nationally ranked chef schools, cooking schools, and you want to make sure that the value that people are getting from your restaurant is priced just right. So you ask, do you think, would you pay this? Is it too cheap? Is it just right? Is it a little higher but worth it for you? So they're gonna test out the food. Like, is the food really good? Is the ambiance really nice? Is the service excellent? So then they likely will pay the higher price for what you're offering. And you don't want to just sell to your family and friends anyway. So you also want to think about, like, the customer and the client that you're looking to serve. What are they looking for? And can you deliver on what they're looking for? Does your product or your service give them exactly what they need? But also think about you, the person who is creating the product or the service, right? What do you bring to the table? So it's one thing if you have zero experience doing whatever this thing is that you're building, and you've never done anything like this before in your life. But it's another thing if you are highly credentialed, you have a lot of experience. So say you are an accountant opening up your accounting firm. You have been doing accounting for JP Morgan and Chase for, I don't know, 10 years. You were considered an executive, right? You had a C-suite position before you opened your company. And then you want to charge the cheapest price out there. Eh, you're not valuing what you bring to the table. You're not valuing yourself and your expertise and the quality of the product and the service that you're going to be offering your clients. And so you're not pricing with confidence. There must be some kind of fear there that you are dealing with. Here's the thing, you don't want to be the person that says, "Hey, I can help you build your resume," and you're charging $75 to build somebody's resume, but once that resume is built, they get a new job paying them 25 to 30,000 more than what they got before, and they only had to pay you $75 to get their resume up to speed. Do you think that is a good value? Like, you are actually creating transformation in their lives. You are helping them to improve something that is really important, their livelihood. And their livelihood, now they're earning 25, 30,000 more than they were because of the product that you deliver to them. The resume that is the thing that gets them in the door, the thing that gets them that interview, the thing that gets them the second, third, and fourth interview, whatever it takes for them to get hired and get an increase of 25 to $30,000. So is that $75 really the right value for what you are offering? Or what about if you are a public speaker looking to speak at a corporate event and you think that it's okay for you to charge $5,000 because you're like, $5,000 for this corporate event, you're only speaking an hour, like, that should be good, right? No, no, it's not. A corporation is not going to hire you for $5,000 because they're going to look at that $5,000 price tag and they're going to think they're an amateur. They don't have much experience. They are not a skilled speaker. They're just going to make assumptions based upon your pricing. So you can actually think that you're undercharging and think that that's good. And it will actually backfire on you because the individuals who are looking to hire you won't hire you for that low price because they're going to think that you don't bring the value that they need just based upon your price tag. Um, if you have a service that you're offering and you're charging, say, 3,000 for your service, but you look in your competitor whose product might not even be quite as good as yours is charging 12,000 for it, do you think they're going to go with you or do you think they're going to go with the 12,000 person? There's a likelihood, a very strong likelihood, that they may hire the person who is charging $9,000 more for their service because they may think that your service is not as high quality, that you're not going to offer the same thing, that they're not going to get the same value from you that they will get from the person who is charging $9,000 more than you. So pricing can be tricky, but if you can price yourself out of something, meaning you can underprice yourself out of something, or you can overprice yourself out of something, out of an opportunity. If you don't price right, you want to price based upon the transformation, the change, the improvement that your product and your service offers, not less than that. And you want to test it against the market. So, what will the market bear? So, if the market is going to bear that $12,000 price tag, don't charge not $3,000 for that same service or product. They're not going to buy from you. Now, the government is a little bit different because a lot of times when you provide services to the government is often required to take the lowest bidder, right? And so it is possible that you can price yourself lower and the government will say yes to you because your price tag is lower than your competitors. But typically when you're dealing with the public, you're going to want to price according to the value that you are offering with others. And you've got to be confident about that price. So if you go in and you're kind of hemming and hawing and you show that you're not really sure, like I often, my business partner and I, as, as the heads of our company, we will oftentimes, have, meetings where we're going to close a deal. And when we are meeting with our potential client, we need to go in with confidence. We can't go in there and say, well, I mean, if that's too much, we can take $1,000 off of that, or we can make that $10,000 cheaper, or yeah, we can't go in like that. We have to go in saying, this is what we offer. We're going to provide this and we're going to provide that. And we are going to make this transformation and this change for you. So, for example, we work with school districts a lot. So we will go in and we will talk about the change that will come for the leaders that are in that school district, either the leaders and or the teachers, and how their practice is going to change based upon XYZ. That we come with research backed, um, high quality products and services, that we come with skilled individuals who are going to provide the training or the consulting that is necessary, so they know that what we're providing them is high quality. So we're not just sending somebody in there who doesn't have the experience, who doesn't have the credentials, um, who's not knowledgeable in the field or in the industry. We make sure that we send the best, that we provide the best, that it's interactive, that it's engaging, and that they're going to be able to walk away with something that they can use. So when we say it's going to cost you X amount, and it's X amount of tens of thousands of dollars or $100,000 or whatever the price tag is for that, they know what they're getting, and we are confident in the price that we're giving them. Again, we don't want to undershoot ourselves. So when years ago when I first started and I was not confident in my pricing, I was getting a lot of business, but I could never get to the point where I replaced my salary. This was early on in my business because I was grossly undercharging. And then I found out what people really were charging for it. Nowadays, we have AI models that can help us even price out what the market will bear for what our product or our services are. So we can do some competitive shopping. Um, we can get a sense of what others are charging and what goes along with that. But we need to be confident and assure of ourselves. We can't go in there feeling like, well, if I'd say this price, then maybe they'll say no. Okay, maybe they will say no. But that doesn't mean that your price is wrong, and it doesn't mean that you are not pricing well, and that you're not going to deliver on what you are offering. It may mean that their budget can't bear it for whatever reason. And there are times that you may offer discounts. For example, we have clients that we've worked with for a number of years, right? And so we may not charge them exactly the same price as we charge the new client, because we know that this client is going to stay with us because they have been with us for X number of years. And we don't water down the price to the point that we underprice ourselves, but we may give them a better deal on something because we know that they are going to continue to work with us. And you can do that too. There's flexibility there. The idea is, don't be afraid of what you're going to offer. Um, don't be afraid that you're going to miss out on opportunities. The truth is, our business grew when our prices were raised. And so when we raised our prices, we started getting more clients and more customers. And they saw the value, and they referred other people to us. So that's how it works for you, as you are doing this pricing thing. But if you're somebody who is afraid and you're fearful and you think that, well, I'll never be able to get my business off the ground, with these prices or whatever, you probably won't. Because you don't have any confidence, and people don't want to do business with folks who don't have confidence. If you are not confident in what you're offering and confident in what they are getting, then they're not going to want to go with you. And so you're going to have to work on that part of yourself that is fearful to say, hey, this is what I offer, and it's high quality. I come from the perspective of having been experienced in this field. I know what I'm doing. I'm respected in the industry. I have the credentials, I have the experience, I have the expertise. I've gone to school for it, and I can price it fairly because of that. But some of us do have challenges with fear. Like, we are not confident. We have imposter syndrome. we think that people won't value us the same way that we should be valuing ourselves. And so we address people with that fear, and we end up making it more difficult for our business to grow in the manner that it should grow. I want you to deal with that fear. If that's something that you're struggling with, you got to work through that fear. I actually help people work through their fear. I help people who are building their businesses and are looking to figure out how to price their businesses. I help you with all of that. But I have a product for you, a product that I'm providing to you. If fear is an issue that you're challenged with, I have a 10-day devotional. It's called When Fear Knocks. It addresses some of the fears that we have, and helps you kind of walk through it. You can go right onto my website, tanyabreland.com. You can get access to it. There's actually no cost for that, and that's intentional. And that's the other thing. Sometimes with our pricing, we may offer something for free that provides awareness. It gives people an opportunity to know that you exist, or this part of your product or service is new. Maybe you offer samples. It's like when you walk through Costco's, right? And you're trying to figure out what to buy. I bet you their price they I bet you they earn more money from the samples that they give out, right? So sometimes you can give out samples just to make people aware that this is a product that you have or a service that you have. So that's why I'm going to give away this 10-day devotional. But it is something that really does address fear. The other thing that I have, and it's low cost, but and it's an entryway into just understanding and getting used to some of the services and the products that I might have, and that is uh, an ebook, right? And it's ebook, but it's an ebook that comes with an interactive virtual companion that actually walks you through Fear is Not Your Business Plan, which is the title of that ebook. And so I want you to develop a business plan with confidence. I want you to not be afraid. I want you to be able to say to someone, this is the service and the product that I'm offering, and this is the cost, and not be afraid that they're going to run away just because of that. And so um, when you when you go onto my website, tanyabreland.com, you can have access to both of them. You can address your fear. You can then come out fighting and swinging with your own pricing for your own products and services. And if you're looking for more than that, I am available. I provide coaching services, and I'll have some other offerings in the next week or so that I would like to share with you. But in the meantime, I want to thank you for joining me today. If anything that I said resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. I would love for you to inbox me, send me a message, shoot me an email, Tanya at tanyabreland.com. I do respond to my messages. I respond within 24 to 48 hours. Again, the products are available to you when Fear Knocks as a 10-day devotional, and Fear is Not Your Business Plan. Until tomorrow, and I think I'll come on tomorrow again at the same time, I believe, but if not, I'll let you know. Until tomorrow, where the topic will be, hold on. Tomorrow's topic is, I got to get this right, prepare for your business launch. That is tomorrow's topic, preparing for your business launch. Join me again tomorrow, same time, I think, 9 a.m. And until then, thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day.